I'm sorry for the late start. I was trying to finish up my project I've been working on all day, and if you don't know what project that is, it's the game I've been working on, and to my knowledge, it is done. The reason that I didn't start at 8 like I said I was going to was because I was still working on the last pictures that I had to draw, but all the code was written out by that point, and I was just finishing up the pictures so that the animation was all there. But I'm going to be presenting this to you today. So I'm going to get the game started and we will have a look at it. So you can see that there is this menu screen and we have this character flickering in the corner here, and then we have all these menus. So actually, let me make sure that the sound isn't too ungodly loud, um, because, okay, I think that it shouldn't be too loud, but let's see how it goes. So I need to turn that down a little bit more. Okay. Okay, hopefully that isn't drowning out my voice. I know in the last stream there was a problem where the music playing in the background, every time it booped, you couldn't hear me. So I'm hoping that's not a problem. But I'll try and I might turn the music off if I get to the playing part. So here you can see the menu screen, and so there's this play button. There is a difficulty button, so we can go and look at the difficulties. There is easy, medium, and hard. Now, I haven't done too much testing with each of these. They're more theoretical. So with the easy, it's like I said, it is exactly how you've been seeing it. There is an ample amount of chocolate bars to enact your motherly instinct, and the AI is relatively docile for a while. There is random chances where the weights will be perfect so that he goes and chases after you immediately, but that's sort of a random thing, and it is avoidable because usually he only learns in certain directions, so you can kind of just run through him, and it will not cause you to have too much damage. Um, Now, medium, I set it so that it is a theoretically more powerful neural network. That means there are more layers, there are more nodes in each layer, and hopefully it will be able to learn a little bit better. Now, the problem with this is it takes longer for an entire generation to go through. So what I did to remedy that was I made it harder to find the kid, and in doing that, I lowered the amount of chocolate bars. So hopefully this means that a player will have to play for longer, and it will give the AI a chance to get into that deeper knowledge base that is available. And in the hard category, I once again upped the theoretical intelligence of the neural net. I added another layer and more nodes per layer. Not going overboard, because if there were more nodes than there were inputs, I feel like that would be a little bit overkill. But there's 5 layers and 25 nodes, but the input data is 51 digits long, so or 51 numbers long. So it's condensing immediately, and then it has some room for maneuvering to make higher intelligent decisions. And also, there is only 3 chocolate bars on the map, which means that if the you can't use a chocolate bar every single time you want to find the kid, because the kid you have to find the kid 5 times. So I am going to select I guess we'll go with the hard uh, difficulty, and we'll go play. Actually, I added an info here, so you have a description over on the side, a little note that the enemy is controlled by a deep neural network, because that might not be obvious. Sorry, you might hear the dog barking in the background. And there's a little bit of information about the game itself. So there's the date that it was built. Now, I actually haven't built this. This is still the Python file, but I'm hoping to build it as an exe so that it can be sent out to people. And so it has my name, my YouTube channel, and it is beta version 1.0.0. So it is all pretty straightforward, and the controls are here. So those are probably pretty obvious, other than the fact that 1 is to enact your motherly instinct, but I have that up in the corner by the chocolate bars, so it should be pretty easy to figure out. But I figured I'd give this tab just in case anyone's confused. So you can go back, and we're gonna go hit play. So you can see the kid running. Now the kid was what I was animating right at the end there. He runs pretty fast, and it's pretty wacky looking to see him. But I don't know. It's cool. I'm pretty happy with how it's come out, and I fixed the error where it was glitching and continuously going in one direction even after you'd finished running in that way. So one thing that I wanted to do was up the resolution for the hard level, but I didn't. I decided against that because it was. I'm going to turn the music off. I decided against that because it was making the program run slower. Now, that is because the AI's visualization is constantly updating. So, if there are more things to update, as in more vision around him to update, then it takes longer each tick, each cycle, and the frame rate is lower. So, I didn't want to do that. With the resolution at 3 by 3, the AI can still figure out what direction to go, has the capability of knowing that it's running into something, and it's not too slow in the gameplay. So I'm going to go try and die, but we'll see. Because it's the hard level, he should actually stay in the corner longer. So we see that he is here. I also upped the AoE, so the range that the enemy has here is significantly higher. So you can see that it starts draining. It's draining at the same rate. It's just easier for the AI to drain my energy, or my money. You did see that screen at the end. I accidentally clicked another button, but what it is it just says bankrupt, and then it is just it's basically saying you lose. So we're going to switch it over to easy, and we're going to try and play through this game. Actually, you've seen me play through this, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys if you want to play through this. I could probably do it on a different stream, but I'm pretty gassed from working on this all day, and I want to get to my major topic for the day, which is larger infinities. So I just wanted to show you that the game is done. I'm looking to put it up on the itch.io market. I'm not really too familiar with a lot of game stuff in general. This is the first major project that I've taken under and completed. So I am going to do some research, but I'm thinking about itch.io, and so look on Facebook for any links to that. I'm going to be sending out some messages to some people I know that have gaming channels that might be interested in playing, and I also am going to be putting this up on some Reddit pages just to get people's attention for the game. Now, this won't be something that I'm asking money for, but I think with itch.io you can choose to pay an amount of money if you want to, but I'm going to set it as free. So if anyone wants to go download it, then they can. And I don't know what the situation will be. So I'm sure it will be explained to you when you go to that page. But keep your eyes open to Facebook for that. So we're going to be transitioning over to my main topic for today, which is larger infinities. Now, I should make a background that has math on it, but I don't have that yet, and actually, let's leave it up there. I'm gonna go and put this on the hard level, and then we will just let it run and see how fast the guy finds me. So let me go switch this to hard, and we're gonna play and turn the music off, and then we're just gonna go run out in the middle of nowhere and just sit there. Okay, so let me get this back, and I'm going to switch to my drawing tablet. Okay, so today's topic is larger infinities, and it's not necessarily restrictedly larger infinities. It's just the idea that not all infinities are the same. Now, this is a very confusing topic to someone who doesn't have necessarily a math background, because infinity being the largest number possible, or a theoretical number that you cannot reach if you started counting upwards, but it is the limit. Um, so infinity is such a large number that if you add one to it, it's still infinity. But it's a confusing concept because it's theoretical, and it is the limit that you approach. It's not so cut and dry. Things are very abstract. But what I want to explain is that so there's some paradoxes that come with the number infinity. So we can't say in a normal situation, say we had the number 6. If we divided it by itself, we would get 1. And if we took 6 and multiplied it by 0, we would get 0. But simple operations like this don't really work for infinity because there's information we don't have. We don't necessarily know that one infinity is not greater than the other unless we have some extra information. So what can happen is we have to look at the limits of things. So let's take two things that as x approaches infinity also approach infinity. So we can take function 1 of x to equal e to the x. So that's just an exponential, e being the Euler number, but this isn't specifically important that it's e. It could be 2 if you wanted it to be. I'm just doing this because it's a pretty common function in mathematics. And we'll say function 2 is going to be x squared. So we have two functions. Both of them, as we put bigger and bigger numbers in here, get very big. And they become large faster than x itself becomes large. But there's some interesting things we can think about with this. So if we are thinking about the equation, so we're going to say the limit as x approaches infinity of a combination of these equations. So if we take e to the x over x squared, well, if we look at the graphs of these two functions, x squared goes up and it gets fairly vertical pretty fast, but it does continue to approach infinity. So this number is getting very large as x gets large in general. Now e to the x is somewhat of a different case. It approaches it becomes large extremely fast. And so this isn't a perfect picture. I'm just trying to give you an idea. But if you imagine that, let's say 2. If we had 2 to a power, then we know that it's numbers that we normally use. It's so 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. It becomes large pretty fast, and there's an interesting puzzle that I think I can't remember the exact context of it, but essentially someone was saying that they wanted someone to take a chessboard and put a grain of rice on the top left corner and then move to the one next to it and put twice that and continue doubling all the way down the chessboard, and by the end of it you just had some crazy amount because exponential functions increase very fast. So what I'm getting at is that e will approach a significantly larger number than x if we put x squared than if we put a large number in here for x. So the limit of e to the x over x squared as x approaches infinity is actually infinity because there is a very large number being divided by a less large number. So we still have a large number. It's greater than 1. It's greater than 0. It's greater than 1. So it's not a regular fraction. It's an improper fraction, if you want to say that. But if we flip this, the limit as x approaches infinity of x squared over e to the x, then we find that this is equal to 0 because there is a very large number dividing a significantly smaller number. You can think of it as 1 million under, let's say, 100,000. Well, okay, let's just plug in some numbers for context here. So if we wanted to put in, let's make this easy on me and make this 2. And so if we're plugging in numbers here, let's pick a number that just off the top of my head, 100. 100. So if we plug 100 into our first function here, we're going to get, I'm going to do the math on this just to make sure I'm correct. I always have my phone not in the rotationally locked, so then I have to unrotation lock it for the calculator, and it's somewhat annoying. And it doesn't seem to be working with me, so hold on. Okay, so 2 to the 100 is a very large number. That is on the magnitude of 10 to the 30th. And if we take 100 squared, then I think you know where this is going. We get 10,000. So if we are just rounding here, then we have 10 to the what is that, the 4th, because 100 squared is 10 to the 2 to the 2, and then 10 to the 30th, and you can see how this is less than 1 by a lot. But then if we flip this, then you can see that it is still significantly greater than 1. It is a huge number. So this is the idea that not all infinities are the same. Now, this can become confusing when we step out of multiplication and into the realm of addition or subtraction, per se. There's actually a famous proof that if you have a properly set up infinite series, which means it's like a pattern of numbers, I think if you say 1 minus 1/2 plus 1/3 minus 1/4 plus 1/5 and so on, you can rearrange this so that it equals to whatever number you want. So what this basically means is, since we have 2 series, so we can say the odd indexes here, so 1 over 1/3 plus 1/5, and then we also have the even indexes here, minus 1/2 minus 1/4 minus 1/6 dot 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 dot. Both of these series that we've split up here, both of these series that we split up here approach their respective infinities. I'm not going to draw a line between them. So this series approaches positive infinity, and this series approaches negative infinity because everything is negative. So what's happening is here is we're subtracting this series from this series, but the order that we do this in actually can change the outcome of the convergence. So if we what we can do is we can make this idea of infinity minus infinity equal to anything, because infinity plus 4 is still equal to infinity. So we could technically say that infinity minus infinity is equal to 4. Now, it's somewhat of a paradoxical idea, but it is something that is very well thought out, and I believe I think it was Raman. So if you've ever heard of the Raman zeta function, or uh, Raman's last theorem, there he's a very prominent name in mathematics, but he was the guy that actually thought about this and put it down on paper. So I think that I have explained what I came out to explain. Sorry if I'm fumbling over my words a little bit. I was working on the game for uh, the entirety of today, pretty much from about noon until now, with little breaks for food. So I'm going to be moving on to the final section, which is the random drawing. And we haven't been doing these a lot because I haven't been doing the full streams, but we are going to continue the tradition. So I'm going to get that set up. Okay. Let me get a pencil to erase what we used last time. So we had car, we had, where was it? Trying to think what our last. Um, Let me just go look it up so I don't use the same thing again. It was eager and ale. Ale as in sickness. And then where's eager? Okay, so we're going to pick a number between 1 and 23. Let me just restart that section for cutting up. So today we're doing the random drawing section. I have my random number generator set up for 1 through 23. And the first number is 18. That is a bra. I will remind you that these words were laid out by my girlfriend and her sister, so I am not really sure what is on here. Our second number is 3. That is, oh, sorry. The first number, although it was 18, I do have to shift it 2 down. I forgot because there are 2 that were already used. So that is an elf. The second word is crying as the verb for number 3. And the third word, number 6, is melodic. So I guess that pretty much makes sense. Elves being mythical creatures would be somewhat prone to singing while showing emotion. So we can imagine that we have our elf here, and we're just gonna start with a shape like that. Now, elves are known for their quite pointy ears, so we will make sure that that is included in the picture that we are drawing. But this elf that we are drawing is sad because the game that I have made is not available on Mac, and all he has is a Mac. So he is going to be crying, although slightly smiling. I'm not sure why, but we will have a blue-eyed elf because elves have blue eyes. Well, I guess some of them could have green eyes or brown eyes, but I like to make generalized statements that don't necessarily hold true to societal standards. So we will have our blue-eyed elf and our white dragon. Um, And we can get some, well, we don't necessarily have to put hair in. We can just draw on a hat. And there we go. So we have our elf here. This elf is crying, but in the process of doing so, the air coming out of the elf's nose is, well, we need one more bar there, and then we can just continue this out like this. And then we actually I think we need one more. So we're gonna go on top here, and if you will bear with me, then we can draw a well, let's go with a bass clef. This is a rather large elf, I guess. And then we can just draw some music notes and perhaps a single note that looks somewhat like a delta, because I have been drawing those a lot for my engineering classes. And then we can get maybe one up here with a tail, and I think you get the picture. So we have our elf here who is none too happy about the platform availability of Sell Me Something, but he perhaps could ask Santa for a better computer. So I think this is a finished picture. We might be able to get some coloring in here if we complete lines like adults and finish off the picture with one swift or several swift paint maneuvers. I'm going to leave that, and then we'll color that. Apparently not. And I think that is a micro fission somewhere right there. So we can finish that off. I don't want it to be black. Nothing against black necks. I don't know. Kind of didn't show off the border as much. And then apparently I am still continuously failing to color in the lines all the way, and we have our elf. Now I should probably make these tears a different color and color in the eyelids a little bit. We're probably going to have to leave these relatively rough, but we'll work with what we got. So we have our eyelids, and I think we have a finished picture. Right, there we go. And, you know, let's just color that and that and that. Now we'll make that one this color. Okay, so I think that you can get the idea. We could make the lips red probably. But that is our elf, and just for sanity's sake, he can have eyebrows. So, I'm pretty happy with this picture. It looks like the elf is not happy, but I think that was what we were going for. But at least he's making beautiful music out of his nose. So I want to thank you guys for sticking around. If you have, it's been kind of rough talking for as long as I have after working for as long as I have. But I think that it didn't turn out too bad. So I am going to be signing off, but I will be talking to you guys on Thursday, and hopefully by then I will have figured out the means of which I am going to distribute my game. If you are interested in beta testing, and because there are still improvements that could be made, please let me know. I'll probably be able to just email you, but for convenience sake, I'm going to try to have some centralized place online for all of the distribution needs. So I will have more on that on Thursday. And until then, I want to thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.